Without further ado, here's Raghav. Welcome, buddy.
What's up, guys? I'm Raghav. I'm going to talk about how I built a one-person team, one-person business, to about 30 to 40K a month on average per month, while still protecting my free time, still traveling, still like doing all the stuff that we like to do as digital nomads. I want to start with an obligatory lifestyle design photo. It's actually kind of funny because like before I did stuff like this, before I went to Bali, I would look at that photo and be like, oh, it seems like that guy's having a good time, right? But the truth behind this is like, what was running through my mind at that moment was those rocks that I was sitting on was super uncomfortable. I was really scared actually because like I'm like I don't want to get up and fall off the cliff. So yeah, it's still beautiful, but that's interesting to know that truth. Okay. You mic. So the 35K a month breakdown, it comes from in bulk by selling digital products, both for myself and for clients. So by digital products, I mean like high ticket products, high ticket like courses, coaching programs, seminars, conference tickets, stuff like that. And the same thing works for services too. So like if you're an SEO agency or like a developer or something like that, the same basic funnel works. And I'll talk more about the specifics of the funnels later in this talk. But selling my own digital products, training programs, coaching, stuff like that through my own Facebook ad funnels. And also building Facebook and Instagram ad funnels for other experts, other coaches, other like for example, one example of a client might be like a real estate investor who's selling like a coaching program on real estate for $2,000, or like a seminar for $2,000, or even like an agent, like an SEO agency that's selling like a 10K service package. Like anyone who's selling like an expensive product, these funnels can work for. And I have basically nothing. There's no website. I don't have a blog. I don't have a podcast. There's no employees, no contractors. I have like 200 followers on Instagram, so that's nothing. It's nothing big. And I think like, right now I'm kind of easing into these things. I'm not like against any of that stuff, but I feel like in the beginning at least, a lot of these things tend to be more barriers than opportunities, I think, especially when you're getting started. Like a lot of people feel so overwhelmed about they need to be on YouTube, they need to be creating content, they have to like have a site, they have to be blogging all the time, they have to have a podcast. And even to this day, I've done like really none of these things. It's actually kind of funny because on the Nomad Summit site, I don't know if you guys caught it, but when I was first listed as a speaker, I didn't have a company name. It said like copywriter and entrepreneur. And Alexander was like emailing me. He's like, do you have a company? Like, we need to put you as like founder of something. And I'm like, well, I don't have a site. I don't have anything. So I don't know what to say. So I think she pulled something off of LinkedIn, which is fine. But yeah. So what I was thinking about how I can bring the most value here. And I think there's a couple big things that I hope that you can get out of this. The first thing is like if you're getting started, if you're just like kind of looking for like opportunities and seeing what's out there to become a digital nomad, I think like I can give you some more context around my skill is copywriting. My core skill is that. So that's kind of how I write Facebook ad funnels. Like the core reason why it works is the copywriting, the sales copywriting. So like I'll give you some more context around like becoming a freelance copywriter that's working with high ticket clients. Which I think is like a massively lucrative thing, especially right now, like with Facebook and Instagram ads. I'll give you some context on that. And then also like tactics, if you're more advanced or if you just have a course already, like tactics to sell your own high ticket products or a service. Like I know there's some developers, like services like that can really be used, like these funnels can be used to sell those services as well. That's me in high school. That's like a photo from, I think I was like 15 years old. This was a marching band photo. It's not a good look. I'm glad I changed that. Anyway, well, I was like 15 or 16 years old in that picture. And you wouldn't tell by looking at that, but I grew up listening to gangster rap music. 50 Cent, the first rap album I ever heard was 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying. I fell in love with hip hop after that. I was like, I love this. But at that age, like if you remember, MySpace was really big back then. And like the people who are like really getting the most value out of MySpace were rappers, DJs, indie rock bands, people like that, right? And I liked rap, I loved hip hop. So what I did was I started making beats on MySpace. Like I downloaded FL Studio. It's like a DJ, like beat production software. And I put up a MySpace like artist page. And it was like, I was 15 and I was like making these beats on FL Studio in my room. I'm gonna step on this. I was like making beats on FL Studio in my room. And I was also like trying to rap over the beats too. And I'd put up my artist page. And I found out 3 things. Number 1, I was not good at rapping. I was not really that good at making beats either. But I was good at writing songs. So like I would post these lyrics on the forum boards on MySpace and get a whole bunch of responses from artists and different people saying, oh, this is legit. So what I tried doing at that age was like selling songwriting services to artists that were like coming up on MySpace. And it was just like a fun thing that I was doing at the time. I didn't really make like a ton of money from it. It was just like a fun thing. And the reason I'm sharing that is because like, first of all, to kind of show you like my background, but also like, it's kind of crazy how like I never, like this thing that I was drawn to, I just never assumed that it would be practical at all. Like I just never thought that writing could be something that you could actually make money from. Like especially in high school and college, like you see these like top, like the highest paid professions, right? It's always like doctor, lawyer, like petroleum engineer is always up there. It's always like the same professions. And like I never thought that writing could be like one of those things, but I found that it could be. I wrote this article like 2 years ago. It's called How to Get Any Job You Want, Even If You're Technically Not Qualified. This was like the tail end of college from me, and I published this on Medium. So like I did really badly in college. I got horrible grades, but one thing I was good at is getting jobs. I never had any trouble like getting internships or job offers at pretty like good companies. And my friends would keep asking me like how I got these different opportunities despite not having connections or anything like that. So really like I wrote this article on Medium to start out just because like I was kind of just tired of telling my friends the same thing over and over again. So I wrote it, I published it on Medium and also LinkedIn. And like the next day I woke up and I had like 10,000 views or 20,000 views. I'm like, oh shit. This is like is getting a lot of traction, and then like over the next few weeks, it started popping even more. Right now, I think to this day, it got picked up by Business Insider and a bunch of other publications too. I think it has like over 2 million views like in total now. But like a bulk of it came from the first few weeks afterwards. And as it was getting a lot of traction, I was getting a lot of messages from people asking for more information and things like that. So I put this call to action at the bottom of the blog post. It was next steps, and I had this like little like thing. It says if you're an ambitious person who wants to take your career to the next level, sign up here to get my 4-step checklist to landing your dream job. It was basically this blog post, but like in PDF form. It was more well designed. Even if you're not sure what you want to do yet, even if you feel underqualified, most of my content's counterintuitive, which is true, and it's different from the usual career advice you generally see on the internet. And I had to sign up here to get the guide. So within a few weeks of having that, I ended up getting like 5,000 or so email subscribers. And the first email in the sequence, my intention behind this after I started getting a lot of subscribers was to see if I could create some kind of like digital product as like the next step for them to sell them on that and provide some more value. So like the first email in the email sequence was like some version of like, can I ask you a quick question? Like what specifically are you struggling with when it comes to careers? Like is it resumes? Is it like getting interviews? Is it after you get the interview? So I wanted to know the specifics, and based on those specifics, what they told me in the email, I built a table of contents for the actual course. And I launched it. This is what the overall flow looked like. So from the blog post, they went to a call to action, which was that thing that I showed you. And it was a super ghetto MailChimp opt-in page after that. So MailChimp is a free tool, is a tool that you can use to host your email list basically. And what a lot of people don't know is that they actually have a landing page like builder, meaning that like they have a page where you can people can like opt in and send you their email address. It's really basic. It's very ugly. There's not good design on it. But I used that for the first 4 or 5K email subscribers. And then after that, they went through a 5-day email sequence where I sold them on like this $49 product and went to a sales page, and then it was a purchase link. And I had like made 5K from that within like a several week period, which was kind of crazy. It's because like I published this blog post with no intention of actually starting a business, and in early November, and then within like the next month, it was like 5K in like a 1 week period after it launched, which is pretty nuts. And more than that was like the impact that it had. Like this guy, for example, he emailed me and he was like, what does it say? He borrowed like $100 from his parents that week to buy groceries, and then like he used something in my article to land a promotion, and he got a massive raise after that. This dude got like an internship at Twitter. This girl got a job in McKinsey, which was nuts. That's like a massive consulting company. So this was like real world impact. It's not like some internet marketing stuff anymore. I was like, wow, this is like actually like working and helping people too. So I scaled it even more. I started off with this $49 product. It was like a 1 hour long video course, or 1 or 2 hour long. I hosted it on Teachable. I still do Teachable to this day. So it was $49. The iteration 2, I doubled the price to $97. After that, it was $197. I added some more stuff to it. I added some more stuff, made it $497, and then the last iteration, it was $997. I got like a career coach to coach people one-on-one. It was like much more intensive, and that last iteration, when it was $1,000, is when I started like playing around with Facebook ad funnels and stuff like that, and Instagram ads and things like that. But there was kind of like a limit to the stuff that I could teach. Like there was I knew careers. I didn't really want to like become like the career expert or anything. I wanted to branch out from that. I like building funnels. I love to write. That was fun for me to write these Facebook ad funnels and the copy and stuff like that. So what I tried to do was I started to replicate this for other experts. I started doing it for my mom, for she's an immigration lawyer. I started doing that. I did it for like an SEO agency. So I started like taking this thing and trying to replicate it for other people to see if I could still get results for them too, and sell funnel building as a service. So I'm going to show you some examples of actual campaigns that worked to give you some more context. I can't go into like all the super details. I'm going to like do it tomorrow in the workshop if you guys are interested. But I'm just going to give you like a high-level overview of like how these funnels work, so you can kind of get a sense of if you were to do this for a client, like what would you actually have to deliver, or like if you're doing it for yourself to sell your own products, like what actually goes into creating something for yourself. So the funnel goes like this at a high level. It starts with like ad copy. There's like one piece of Facebook ad copy that I always write. I keep it very basic. There's no like multiple ads or anything. It's just one ad copy. It goes to a landing page. Landing page is like a page that with an email opt-in box where you can send your email. And then in exchange for that, you get some sort of like video, which is called like a lead magnet video guide, something like that. And then on the back end, there's like a 10 to 15 day email sequence. And then there's a sales page, and then you buy. That's like the basic funnel, and I replicate that for everyone. For like services, for courses, products, seminars, basically everything. So I'm gonna show you this example. This is an ad campaign that I ran for myself to sell my own service, the funnel building as a service ad campaign. For myself first, I'll get 2 other examples later, but I'll start with this. And I'm actually gonna read the copy because I think it's gonna like help illustrate the next point. So, dear expert, I'm a nobody. I don't have a huge following. I'm not a millionaire. I have no simple 7-step system for you. Nor am I gonna ask you to register for a live webinar that just so happens to be starting 5 minutes from now. And I got horrible grades in school, so I'm not smart by traditional standards. But the truth is, I don't need to make outrageous claims to impress you. How come? Because I know how to crush it with Facebook ads without following the rules that 99% of marketers think they have to follow. For example, I don't use Power Editor. I don't have a fancy autoresponder funnel. I don't run split tests. I don't have tons of complicated software tools. I don't use emojis. I don't have videos of myself standing in front of a whiteboard with a marker. I don't run webinars or use messenger bots. So what's your secret? Wish I had one. All I know is this. if you want to build a big email list and scale your business rapidly, then stop wasting time on stuff that doesn't matter. Common sense plus good copywriting plus awesome ads equals more customers and clients. That's it. Stick to the basics. Chicken and rice, bro. It's not about funnel hacking or what software tools you use or how long should my video be or even target audience size. Say it with me. It's about the message, for real. The unsexy truth that most marketers won't tell you is this. No amount of shiny new tactics can fix a bad advertisement. So if I were you, I'd triple down your ad concepts and ease up on the bells and whistles and technical nonsense. And then I have, like, if you'd like to see how it's done, there's a free video, and I kind of go into that a little bit more, and it's kind of like the last half of it, it's like more like a call to action sort of thing. So that's the ad copy. The bottom of it, it's like this lead magnet. It's like a picture of me without a beard. So it converts less, obviously. And the video, the incentive is like a behind the scenes look at my 40K a month Facebook ad funnel from cold traffic. So you click through, there's like this landing page, you have it's like a really basic again, you click on that thing, you enter your email, and you get sent to this thank you page where I recorded this video on Camtasia. It's like a screen capture thing with some white keynote slides. So again, not fancy, it's super basic. And it's doing super well. So like the targeting is massively broad. The cost per result is like $1.71. I got about 3 clients from this so far. Like basically what I do now is like this is, like in the beginning what I did was I had this thing running, and right now I'm not taking on any more new clients, so I don't really have this running anymore. But whenever I want, whenever I want to take on someone new, or if I have a spot or something like that, I'll just kind of turn this thing on, and it will bring me phone calls that I can close, like pretty much without me having to go out and pitch people or anything like that. Kind of brings them to me. And each client is like anywhere between charging like 7 to 10K upfront, plus like 20 to 50% of commissions on the funnel on the back end. So that's quite a bit of cash for about like $750 invested. So this kind of funnel works pretty well. So, and then after that, you got on the back end, once you give me the email address, there's like 15 follow-up emails. And the CTA on each email is to drive people to like a sales call, and then I would close them on a sales call for this specific thing. So like, why does that work? And like that reason I started with that example is because like that's like really the core thing that I use across all campaigns. And like the core thing that I have for like every campaign is this philosophy, which is like focusing on this like unconventional truth, right? So like for that specific piece of ad copy that I showed you, like the truth was that you focus on the basics, right? So like the way I think about it whenever I work with anyone or sell any product, whether it's mine or anybody else's, is like, what does everyone else in the space do that you disagree with? Like, what's your point of view? What's your like specific point of view on like what most people do, but like you believe that you should do the opposite? There's actually a good book by Peter Thiel called 0 to 1. I think he explains this concept to some degree there. He says some version of like any founder, any investor that he works with, he always says he always wants to know like what is like he always asks them like what's the one thing that you believe that most people would disagree with, or some version of that. So like that's kind of the thing that I focus on for like every ad campaign, and massively broad targeting. I don't really pick a niche. All my stuff is like 200 million plus person audience, very broad stuff. And the reason for that is because that allows me to, once the ad works, if I have a broad audience, I can kind of set and forget it for like an 8 to 9 month period if I want to, and still collect the same like returns. Which is part of the reason why, a big reason why I'm able to like scale it to like 30, 40K plus per month, with it just being me and not working so much, is that like each of these funnels that I build are kind of run on their own, and I can collect a baseline of returns, at least for like an 8, 9, 10 month period, depending on what the product is. So I'll run through this one pretty fast. It's a copywriting course. This is my own ad campaign. So like this is kind of similar. Again, no beard. But this is the ad copy. The video again is like some sort of free video on how I'm able to land clients without having to pitch some prospect or sell, which basically is like me going on job boards and pitching them with some creative strategies. Same free video on the thank you page, and it was doing pretty well. Like it was like so for this specific date range, 9.5K or so invested, and there was like a 3.8x return, so I was like 37K. And I was able to run this for I was actually working until 2 months ago. So in June is when I saw a slight dip in ad performance. So I was able to run this for an 8 or 9 month period without seeing any dip in returns at all. And that's kind of how it works for most of the ad campaigns. And then the same kind of thing, 14 main follow-up emails. There's a bunch of free content for the first 6 emails. And the last 7 emails is more salesy. And again, I'll go into the details of what the emails are tomorrow in the workshop. So this one is one for a client. This is there's a course, there's a client that I was working with who runs a lead generation agency. And he was wanting to create a product on how other people could also start their own LinkedIn lead gen type companies. And these were the results for that. The one thing I wanted to draw attention to is the column at near the right there, or first from the right, I think, that says relevance score. So usually, these ads are getting there's 2 of them with a 10 out of 10, 1 with a 9. And what's interesting about this is that the targeting here is 200 million people, or 300 million. It's a massively broad audience. And that's kind of unique that you can get, because relevance score is what Facebook uses to kind of gauge how targeted your ad is for that audience, how well they engage and all that sort of thing. So it's kind of weird that I'm able to get, that these ads are able to get 10 out of 10 relevance scores for basically half the US if you think about it that way. And I think a big part of it is the fact that the focus is on that unconventional truth and the angle and the positioning. Because from my experience, if you focus on that, the vast majority of the audience will see that and engage with it. And you'll be able to kind of make the ads super targeted despite not being niched down, if that makes sense. Yeah, so that's, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this one. And then, yeah, so the same structure for this specific campaign as well. There was the ad copy, landing page, lead magnet. There was a 10-day email sequence, sales page, and then they purchase. And these were the results from this. This was from, I think, last month. So the spend was 3.5K. The returns were 6 to 7x consistent up front. So that's immediately after the sales are done within a 2-week period. And then we also doubled that spend this month, and the returns also 6x, 7x. So that's still staying consistent. And based on the other patterns, I think that's going to remain pretty consistent for at least another 10 months or so at a baseline, just kind of based on what we've seen so far. So those are some examples of campaigns that worked. Why does it work so consistently? I think it's because of the disproportionate focus on the message over everything else, and not so much on the software or the websites or the bells and whistles or anything like that. It's very much about what do you believe? What is it? If you're selling software development, it's what are most software developers doing that are tricking other customers? Or what are they doing that's what kind of BS are they selling in a way? And and how can you call that out is how I kind of think about it. Because that always exists in every kind of market. And if you can do that, people will engage and they will love that. They will love that point of view. And that unconventional truth is a foundation for all the ad copy and for all the email funnels too. And that's kind of sets a foundation for everything. And targeting these broad set and forget niches when possible, that kind of allows me to, I still do work on the campaigns and tweak them and stuff, but if I'm able to target a broad audience that I can kind of set and forget, that allows me to kind of collect passive income, I guess, for a 6 to 7 month period. And also, when I work with clients, I charge a percentage revenue from the funnel instead of just trying to maximize the cash up front, which also helps because then I can have funnels in multiple different spaces that can run simultaneously for a long period of time. And why if you're thinking about selling as a service, I'm actually a big fan of it. Because right now, Facebook and Instagram are producing pretty unbelievable returns. I'm seeing 4, 5, 6, 7x as kind of typical for some, a lot of these ad campaigns. It's not crazy to get those kinds of returns right now if you are good at writing copy. Because most people aren't really good at writing copy that sells well. They tend to be kind of more focused on other things. So if you're able to write copy, that's going to separate you quite a bit from other people. And also, because the platforms are so insanely underpriced right now, you actually don't have to be a great writer to take advantage of it and build funnels that work. Right now, AdWords, for example, people who do AdWords, to win, especially like in like competitive AdWords markets, you have to be pretty good at it because like it's a bit more competitive now. But like in my experience, you don't have to be that great at like copy and funnels on Instagram and Facebook yet to get some pretty profitable returns. It's real lucrative, and I haven't found too many other services that scale as smoothly as that. In terms of like not having to hire people, in terms of being able to run everything on your own, and not taking that long to like deliver the work either once you get good at knowing what to do. Yeah, just some quick math here. Like if you're like interested in like in delivering this as a service, like let's say you give this a year, it's a pretty long time frame. Like if you get 5 clients over the next year, which is doable, I think, and you deliver 1 funnel each that does 10K a month. 10K sounds like a lot, but honestly, like again, like with the 5, 6, 7x returns on the ad spend, it's not a crazy number, to be honest with you. And if you charge a 20% commission on those revenues, that can be like an extra 10K a month net for you. So that's like some interesting numbers there to play around with. And it's actually a lot more achievable than you might think. That's actually how I scaled up in the beginning, just like offering this as for other people on a commission basis and collecting the commissions on revenue and being like, wow, this actually scales really well. And the launch process, again, I'll talk more about this in the workshop if you guys are interested. But basically, in the beginning, kind of goes into 7 steps. The first step is I usually send people a questionnaire if I work with them on figuring out their point of view, like what do they believe about their industry, like what strong opinions do they have about that field. I try to narrow in on that first, and then it comes to like positioning the product. Like for example, positioning is like starting an agency versus starting a social media company versus starting a consulting business. It's all the same thing, right? It's just like what's the angle that you're going to go after. Creating 2 to 3 free videos to start out, figuring out the targeting, the ad copy, starting the email with that quick question. I always start the email with a quick question to like get a sense for what people care about first. And then like writing that 10-day email sequence based on those number 6 responses. So that's the high level 7th step of how I replicate this thing for myself and for other people too. You can find, I'm not active on any websites, obviously, but you can find me, you can search my name on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. I'm on there. And if you want, like, if you're interested in this stuff, I have like a bunch of videos on funnels and everything. That's my phone number. You can text me with your email address, and I'll send you a bunch of stuff on that if you want. Thank you.